mask this weekend. Dominating against a dominating 49ers defense.
That was like a real clown nose.
It was.
That was like, wow, we all lean into our characters. You might have leaned a little too far.
Watch them block a pass. And then be like, wow, that was right. Take a listen to Jalen Hurts.
They're really good all across the board, you know, and I think it starts off with the front seven and then having a really good defensive back group. They fly to the ball. They're disruptive at every position. They're well coached. They're well coached. So we have a task in front of us. We have a really good challenge, really big challenge in front of us. And as always, we just want to go out there and execute, you know, try and be efficient.
Let's look at the tail of the tape. Eagles offense, 49ers defense. 49ers, very, very good. Greg, we'll go back to you. Who do you trust more, 49ers defense or the Eagles offense?
Man, well, when you look at that full screen,
Pretty
it's
good.
like you might want to say the 49ers defense, but I actually trust the Eagles offense here because if there is one chink in the armor for the 49ers, it's their passing game.
Yes.
Their pass defense.
Yes.
They struggle guarding the ball when it's thrown in the air. And again, when you think about this game and matchups, what is not being truly talked about is the guys in the trenches. The Eagles have a phenomenal offensive line. Obviously, we know Nick Bosa and Armstead and all those guys can pass rush. If they can hold up, A.J. Brown, Goddard, Smith, they can have a field day. Because the issues that they have is Trevarius Ward, he struggles. We saw him struggle against DK. One of the things we mentioned about that game.
He's been really good for them this year.
He has been really good.
But against
DK, a bigger and physical
and DK and AJ are very similar
Very similar guys. Very physical, can get you down the field. That's the one reason I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles offense because they can do it all. Like the running, the passing.
I agree. And I think, and they've been susceptible to deep passes too, or at least 20 yards and deep and further. So I do think their pass game against San Francisco can have some success. I also think they can, look, it's tough to run the ball against the Niners, but teams have a lot more success running opposite Bosa. So I think they're going to direct their run game at the opposite side of where Nick Bosa is lined up, and I think they can have some success there. And the teams that have given Kansas City, which pounded San Francisco, we saw Jarrett Stidham and the Raiders give them some trouble. What did those two teams have? Top 10 offensive lines. And Philadelphia's got arguably the best offensive line in the league. So if they can match them physically up front, which I think they can, then I do think, I'm not saying they're going to blow them out.
Sure.
But I trust the offense, like Greg said, more than
So I don't.
Defense.
Listen, I do want to say this because I am, I'm going to catch the next time around on the Jalen Hurts bandwagon. I'm going to let this one pass by. With that said, he handles himself at these press conferences as well as any quarterback in the league. For a guy that could have won league MVP, he does exactly what you want your guy to do, and he carries himself with a legitimate, not a false bravado, but a legitimate confidence without being cocky. I think he's great up there. I also think that the Eagles have the best offensive line in football, which is good because they're up against the best defensive line in football. And I think as smart as the Niners offense is under Shanahan, that defense under DeMeco Ryans has been doing brilliant stuff that they are allowed to do because outside of the D-line in that back seven, you have Warner and Hufanga, who I think this year have been the best at their positions respectively, and can kind of do a little bit of everything. The play you showed us in the Cowboys game where T.Y. Hilton's open, against any other middle linebacker in the league, Dak made the fine play.
Correct.
Because CeeDee Lamb is going to beat that guy, and Fred Warner goes step for step. My concern for Philly is this. They have not faced anything close to this Niners defense all year except for the Cowboys games. The Cowboys defense is not the Niners defense. And I know everyone throws out the Raider game, or brings up the Raider game, I should say. In the last 3 months, the Niners defense has dominated everyone except for that one Raider game. And I'm going to guess they took their foot off. They took them lightly. They're like, it's a backup quarterback for a team that's given up, and they got there. But when they've been locked in post-Chiefs game, I mean, they're forcing 2 turnovers a game, and the Eagles, that when they have lost this year, it's because of turnovers. I think the Niners defense is a juggernaut, and I think it's going to cause real problems for Philly.
Yeah, you keep saying that, but for me, this Eagles offensive line is legit.
Oh,
and
I think it's the best in the league.
everybody continues to talk about what the 49ers have been able to do and the Eagles' light record and all of that. The 49ers haven't played a whole lot of people either at the end of the season. And their struggle, their Achilles heel, again, they're 20th in pass yards per game. And I know we highlight the offensive line, and the reason why I like to highlight them is because it opens everything up. Like when you look in that wild card game, if we have this tape,
Oh, okay.
we have this tape. This is now, if you freeze it right here, man-to-man across the board. You got DK Metcalf, Charvarius Ward. It's man-to-man. This mano-y-mano. Your offensive line has to hold up. Your defensive line has to get pressure. What happens if we roll the tape? DK Metcalf wins his one-on-one battle. If you look at Charvarius Ward, the reason why he gets beat is because of there's multiple ways to get beat when you have a big receiver and a big corner. They can back shoulder you. They can beat you over the top. He peeks back shoulder, up, no back shoulder. I beat you over the top. Big play, big touchdown. DK has a huge game. This is what A.J. Brown can bring to the table. Yeah. This is why I think what we talked about earlier, it is a storyline. And you do need to try to get him the ball because if you can get them doing this early, it'll be a long day for that.
And you got a great receiver on the other side, too.
Exactly.
It's not like they can just focus on A.J. Brown.
Why wasn't Ole Miss better when they had DK Metcalf and A.J. Brown as their two receivers? I don't know. Mac Jones maybe or something. I mean,
national champion. Undefeated.
There's a problem. I don't know.
Why wasn't Texas Tech better? Bengals. New big dogs.
They didn't have DK. A beautiful suit.
He's not on camera yet, Nick.
Well, now people will be excited.
A.J. Brown addressed this odd moment from the Eagles' big victory last weekend. Some people said, well, he was a little bit bothered by a nagging injury or the fact that he had 3 catches for 22 yards. Well, he addressed it. Take a listen.
No, I'm never the receiver to go on the sideline or to try to cause like problems on the sideline. I'm not that guy. I think that's what you can describe as a diva or whatever the case may be. But I'm not that person. You know, I'm a guy who goes and talks to the quarterback or talk to the OC and do it that way. You know, I'm not a guy to try to cause commotion on the sidelines. I'm not. That's not who I am. I'll never be that guy.
Greg in his beautiful suit. Do you think this is going to be a storyline this weekend?
It already is a storyline. Oh. We've been talking about it all week. When Greg Olsen and Kevin Burkhardt opens for the game, they're going to talk about it. We're going to be waiting to see are they going to feature A.J. Brown early. Look, I don't think he's going to make it an issue. I don't think it's a big deal for them, but for us this week, knowing what he experienced, not getting the ball and then being overthrown a couple times, like it is frustrating. That is fine. I'm perfectly fine with that. The fact that he made a point to say, I'm not that guy, I think his reputation precedes him.
Right.
He is not that guy. He's never been that guy. He always is being seen or caught on camera smiling typically, and we don't really talk about those type of things, but I just think optically it was not a good look. Period. This week, it was not a good look, especially when you're winning. But it goes to show that receivers, you're going to get labeled regardless if you're winning or you're losing. Stephon Diggs, they lose. He's like, what's up, Josh Allen? We're talking about him. The same is going to happen with A.J. Brown. But it's just not a good look altogether.
Yeah, if he was sitting there smiling, though, he wouldn't have got labeled. So I hear you. But look, ultimately, I don't think this is a big deal. But even if he were a diva, and I agree with you, he's not. It's not like you can't win with divas. Antonio Brown, Super Bowl. OBJ, Super Bowl. You can go back to Keyshawn Johnson, Super Bowl. Like, even if he were a diva, that doesn't mean you can't win. Now, he's not, and I think this will be nothing. I do think it was because he had 3 catches, 22 yards.
Yeah.
I don't like that, but I think that happens, Greg. Whether a guy does that in the locker room or whether he's doing it, on the playing field or the bench, it doesn't look good, but I think ultimately they get past it, and I think he could come out and have a big game.
What if the 49ers want to push that storyline to
Wilds,
the forefront?
listen, America, Wilds has a few anecdotes from his previous lives that he really loves.
Yeah.
One of them is a great one.
Yeah.
And involves Kobe.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, it's
story.
a story that was written about in the...
But you talked to him about it.
Yeah, it was a story that was written about, and I was going to meet Kobe. We were doing a project with Kobe. And it was